Everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm just doing a video. It's my second video and probably last video of today, but this one's about the cities in the United States that are doing extreme jab mandates. I was trying to think of a word because I didn't want to use the word that YouTube would automatically put me under borderline content, which I know they do because I've seen a lot of my videos have had these huge watch counts and then they go down like 50 or something. It's like, what are they doing? I don't even know. So anyways, this one's about Lori Lightfoot of Chicago, who I talked about last year, otherwise known as Beetlejuice or Golem, depending on your meme for her appearance, which is pretty cruel and mean, but at the same time, the arrogance and smug hypocrisy of that bitch deserves to be called out. So this is if you have, they're making, Chicago is making people have to have the jab to go to restaurants or whatever like that, go to museums, restaurants, or any entertainment. So the fact of the matter is I've analyzed this and I've seen Bowser, Newsom, Cuomo's gone, but de Blasio, all these people, one way or the other, violated their own restrictions in the past 2 years. And the biggest names, like Newsom, all these people that have violated the restrictions. Actually, I think Cuomo's brother, Chris Cuomo, did violate the quarantine that he was supposed to do, allegedly. He's gone from CNN anyways. A lot of these people are just like kind of losing prominence too at the same time, and they're being exposed for the corrupt piles of shit that they are. And if we had any justice, by the way, if we had any fucking justice in this situation, they would have had to pay fines or go to jail time for their not obeying their own guidelines. So that's the point of this video. So the ones that are really trampling down on people's rights, if you want to view that as rights, I know people have the right to be healthy or whatever and free of the virus that spreads anyways, even amongst the jabbed people. If you want to view this as tyrannical, the mandates, for entertainment or going places and stuff, that's one point of view, obviously, that I pretty much share with a lot of people, at least in like this, the precedence that it creates, or if there's any permanency to it, then yes, absolutely tyrannical. And that's what the worry that I have about this is, the precedent. So I think the Supreme Court will rule on that too, actually. That's my belief as far as what's going on with the certain other mandates. So the fact of the matter is, though, the people that are the most hypocritical seem the most militantly into these mandates, and that's these cities that are imposing them. So like Newsom, he's trying to mandate everybody to do all these things, and Bowser, San Francisco, all these people were caught within the last 2 years, not wearing a mask, going to bars with a bunch of people. I think Whitmer actually was caught at a bar too. But now that's one exception because she was hardcore about it too. But she's like saying, well, these mandates might lose a lot of business in Michigan. And, it's like she's actually having some sane. And same with the governor of Colorado. He's like, and I think this is going to be the Democrats' new flex, who are on the side against mandates, then this Colorado governor is pretty much going to set the precedent, in my opinion about that. So he's like, well, that's their choice if they want to die from not getting the jab. That's going to be their flex. If they're secretly like, oh, that's fucked up, I don't believe in that, but they're going to have to come out and say that because that's going to be like their virtue signal / defense of their position. Like, it's just gone so insane. But actually, I have a job interview in Colorado, so it's kind of funny. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, because I don't know if I want to make the move all the way out there. But if they paid me to move, I might do it. If they paid me like $2,000 or $3,000 to move out there, probably would. If they're not going to have mandates and stuff, I might. If this continues on, even with a relatively benign variant, this just continues on the next year, I may just move out of this region entirely. Of course, that's not going to be escape. If you really believe what's going, if this is some kind of plot or whatever like that, if you really believe that, then you probably would say to me, they're going to get you anyways, one way or the other. Eventually, it'll come to Austin or Florida or whatever. You'll have to scan your phone to go anywhere, whatever. Eat the bugs, live in a pod kind of thing going on. So I don't know. I can't say. I'm tending to believe that they've overreached, and a lot of these policy papers and a lot of these corporate like memos that these truth people read are just it's kind of like mental masturbation for the billionaires. It's like, well, we would love to have this by this year, blah blah blah. I mean, just look at the Project for a New American Century. A lot of their stuff did not come true. We do not have democracies, capitalist crony capitalist democracies all throughout the Middle East. It didn't work. They tried. We never, the Project for a New American Century, all these, Agenda 2020 or whatever, Agenda 20 or whatever, all these things, these world organizations or corporations or billionaires trying to push upon us don't work a lot of the time. So I have a little bit of hope for humanity and freedom if this is some big plot. I'm not agnostic about it, but I'm just like, I'm willing to entertain both beliefs that maybe it just was an overreaction. They'll acknowledge it and stop all the crap. Or there's that other side, it depends on what happens in the next few months, few weeks, few days even. I mean, January 7th, I'll just say that. But because of the Supreme Court. So I don't know. I'm not opposed to testing, but if I have to, I'm not going to get the boost, every few months just to go to a restaurant. No, I refuse. And there's already restaurants doing that. Of course, they're being heavily ratioed and heavily harassed, which I don't know. I kind of think they should be in a way. I'm sorry. It's so cruel and mean and unchristian of me to believe that these people should be harassed. But in a way, I sort of believe it. It's like, you're going along with this whole thing. You're not even, I don't know. It's just, that's hypocrisy from my part. But anyways, this is about the hypocrisy of these governmental figures. New subscriber. Awesome. These governmental figures that are trying to push this thing are the biggest hypocrites on the planet. Lori Lightfoot, Newsom, de Blasio. I think he was seen as a hypocrite last year for the New Year's thing, but I can't remember. I think that was like his let them eat cake moment. He's an idiot in the first place. BLM is a big part too, because during April, March, April, May, it's like, stay inside. We're in this together. We're in this together. Don't talk to anybody outside your household. Go protest and burn down Wendy's. The next month. It's like topsy-turvy world. I mean, that's one of the things that bothers people about this. And I was watching Max Blumenthal's interview with, or Primo Radical's interview with Max Blumenthal, and it's like a lot of people do not feel like they're at home at the left anymore, but they hate the right too, or a lot of what the right stands for. So it's like you're a political nomad at this point, and I'm kind of in that group because I still believe in a lot of things on the left, and I still believe in a lot of those ideas, but I'm definitely not, following the establishment mentalities or narratives anymore. So, but a lot of these hypocrites are the biggest ones, the biggest purveyors of these mandates. And you'll see this time and time again where someone that might have been even more neutral about it will not be pushing, like where I live. I don't foresee some type of passport system being implemented in the city. First of all, I would be embarking upon massive civil disobedience if they did. Now, there are venues that do this. Like there's certain places that I used to go to. I have the card to get in, but I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go to the fucking mead place if they require that. I'm not going to go to restaurants that require that. Fuck off with that shit. Because you're tying into this narrative. Places that say test or card, I'm a little bit less cynical about it. I'll be like, yeah, I'll probably go to that, if there's a really big event. But for the most part, I try not to go to those types of venues or anything like that. And I had a bad encounter at one anyways where I flipped off the bartender because she wouldn't serve me for not wearing a mask, even though I showed the fucking card at the door. What is the point of showing the card if you still have to wear a fucking mask? Drinking a drink at your table. It's just so fucking stupid. Rational common sense. So, yeah, this whole thing with, I don't think that's going to happen here is my point. Because they're a little more like, I haven't really heard of the mayor of this town. Like, oh, she was caught maskless, at a huge party or something like that. I haven't heard any headlines like that. That someone would, it's a smaller city. It would have gone around. So I don't think they're going to implement that stuff necessarily. At the same time, I'm going to continue to resist either way, and I don't think it would pass muster here. I mean, we have a town where it took 2 months to even get the mask mandate going. Now they're addicted to it, but because they thought it was racist to implement a mask mandate in the first place. So a passport mandate, I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Now, the state of Wisconsin would probably say they're overreaching their bounds too, because Wisconsin is not a red state, but it's pretty purplish red at this point. I mean, you go outside Dane County, where I live, you can go to a bar normally, walk into a restaurant normally. They're not going to require masks. Some people wear masks, but it's not required. But yet, in this small, however many square miles, I forgot, 67,000 square miles, surrounded by reality, as the tagline used to go. That's actually was the former mayor of this town actually proposed that as Madison's tagline. This former mayor, who was like a big time like Vietnam protest like celebrity. I did vote for him in the primaries, and then I voted for the current mayor, which I really regret after that. But I would have voted for him, even though he's kind of establishment more now and stuff. But I think he would have done a better job with this stuff anyways. But he's angry, he's kind of a dick, and I know that he's known as that, but I would have voted for him because those protests. Watch some of those old Vietnam documentaries, you'll see interviews with him. He was like, wow, that guy was cool. It kind of reminds me of someone else that I know that kind of went more establishment, unfortunately, but who's a member of my family who, is in denial about some of that stuff, but, but still, that's the boomer thing, I guess, but, it's like, I don't think that they're going to do that here, but it wouldn't fit that narrative either that I'm talking about, where you have this person, oh, they were caught at a bar and when they're imposing a mask mandate or without a mask on and dancing like Bowser and Bowser. Bowser, what is this, Super Mario Brothers again? And I think the mayor of DC and stuff, and they're the ones that are really pushing these mandates at the door of every bar in New York City you're gonna have to show your your jab card. Oops, I kind of slipped with the code words for YouTube. So yeah, it's just like the more hypocritical they are, the more they push. It's just like the Christianity. Like, think about this, like Christians, like the more they're getting, like they're doing whatever kind of, whether or not it's perversions or it is perversions. Like what's his name? The guy that was caught with the gay hooker years ago sniffing meth off his ass or whatever. What the hell was that guy's name? He was like the biggest homophobe on the planet, But he was gay. It's like these people just. It's like this mental. I don't know if there's like a psychological model for this behavior, and there should be, but it's just this common thing that where the people that are the most authoritarian about a certain thing are the most hypocritical, and that just seems to be. That's why I'm kind of going more anarchist in my beliefs, because like the bureaucracy and systems are inherently corrupt by their very means of being in existence in the first place. So, but yeah, I hope there's ratioing of Lori Lightfoot's Twitter account every day. She has to ban everybody from her Twitter account. Quits Twitter. I hope people call. I hope people harass the government and just say, not death threats, but you just like say fuck you. I hope there's a lot of protests. I hope there's a lot of people just pushing back against this, because this just sets a bad precedent. It's just like, if there was a sunset clause in there, that's one thing. Like, oh, if we're at this number of cases a day, or deaths or hospitalizations, more of those two, then I'd be like, okay, well, that's fine. But these just nebulous, like, shifting narratives and goalposts that are happening, that needs to be pushed back. That needs to be brought to their attention. I was going to do a video that Trump's virus response was actually more rational than Biden's or the modern response. Because if anybody remembers, there were these color-coded benchmarks that would be like, okay, well, when we're down to this cases, we can open this up and we can do this, we can do this. There's none of that now. It's just chaos and destruction of people's lives and livelihoods, and just all this hatred and division and ugliness and toxicity. So, I mean, I may not do that video. I may do that video. I don't know. But, I think these people need to be resisted as much as possible in a way that's, I just don't believe in this type of thing, especially, I would give almost more credit to someone that would say, okay, we're going to do this until it's at X number of whatever. And a lot of times they don't even say this. Some of the stuff is secretive too. Like Dane County, they won't release certain things, certain measures that they have, or certain statistics and stuff. So they need to be challenged in court, challenged by the common person. These ideas that you're going to have to be part of this elite that keeps getting this boost every couple of months. But I think that narrative's, like I said in my previous videos, that narrative's slowly crumbling with this new Transformer variant. So that's about all.